Going. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to Leftovers Podcast. I'm fucking Sean, and I just want to start talking and saying hello to everybody. That's an inside joke, guys. Tonight we have Jeff on from Big Campaign Podcast. He's going to be joining us to talk about his life, his loves, his future, and everything else, and of course gaming, and everyone else he wants to talk to. Nathan happens to be joining us tonight, our technical expert, who will answer all technical questions about sound and sounding, because me and Matt don't know how to do it.
Not my shit.
Yes. But anywho, I want to thank everybody once again for joining us. Good evening. Howdy, Darcy. How are you? And Matt, would you go ahead and do your announcements, please?
Yeah, sure. I just want to go ahead and take a look at the updated calendar. So still not sure what's going to happen next week. We'll be on. We'll talk for an hour. I'm not sure the quality of the conversation we'll have, but we'll be on. And then like I said, we're going to wrap up the month with our good friends Clash of Crits. And then we're starting to, we got our first guest for February. We're going to be talking to Andrew Park. Andrew Park is part of a group of GMs. It's called, I think, Finding Mom. And it's an interesting name, but this is the group. This is where Maya, who was our guest before earlier, about a month or so ago, who did the Electric State. I'd asked if there was any other folks who they GM with from their group that might have interesting projects. They're going to come on and talk about Daggerheart, which I am actually very interested in, because I know there's a lot of questions about how will this play versus either folks who like Pathfinder, D&D, and now like another option sort of out there. So that's our first guest we've got nailed down for February. And I put on here in the bottom, if you are a creator or a great creator who has a project or is working on something or would just like to come on and talk about something they're passionate about, just send us an email at the AARPGS@gmail.com, and we'd love to talk to you. All right, Sean, back to you.
And if you like hentai or anime, we can get Tyr on and you can talk about that. That's your love, because that's Tyr's gig. If he wasn't so busy, he would be joining us, because he took a new job. He's actually been on a couple of times. He's a great interviewer.
Hentai
man.
Art.
It is art. To him, it is art. To us, it's something else, but to him, it's art. So I want to welcome Jeff again. Thank you for joining us. It's so good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's great, man. It's good having you on here. So I always start with the same question to everybody, like what age you sort of got into gaming, what you started with, and how that progressed. You progressed to point where you, like, I'll say it this, 1999. I'll say that because that's when the sort of the genesis of what you're doing now is going on. Right? Does that sound fair?
Yeah, just about. I mean, oh geez, as far as how this all starts,
how it starts for you and how it develops into with your friends moving forward, like to how you got here today. It's like we like to get the background of like what got you into gaming, what was your first game system, what drew you to it, and if you had a break or something from it, that's fine too. So we're just curious. We like to hear that background.
Yeah, so mine's got a probably not unusual for a lot of early nerds. I was at a garage sale and I saw a D20 for the first time in my life.
Really?
Back in 1994. And I still have it here. A golden D20 from an old second edition
wow.
adventure path. Boop.
Hey, there you go.
But I had no idea what the hell D&D or TTRPGs were. I saw it at a garage sale. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I offered the guy a quarter. He said, just take it, and gave it to me. Years later, I'd eventually be hanging out with my aunt, who was a huge Vampire the Masquerade person. And I was super impressed by like how many cool pictures were in this book, right? Like this is like a 14-year-old me being babysat as I'm just pouring through these nerd books. And I'm like, there's a game? You mean this dice that I found years ago can do a thing? But unfortunately, it wasn't until, God, I want to say 2000 that a friend finally showed up and was like, hey, I have D&D 3.0. Would you like to try to play this game? And I said, a D20, 1 second. And I went to my closet and I pulled out this golden dice I've had for, at this point, 7 years that I've never used. And was like, I think I'm ready to play.
You know, you sort of sound like that. You know, you're like the typical guy who keeps that one item they use to build a house. It was a D20. You know, which is hilarious. So, and the fact that it's golden makes it better. This makes the story better. You know.
Yeah, so. This is kind of like the thing about that old wives' tale that where people were just hand out free drugs, but this actually happened to you.
Yeah, it's it's very much that like it's very much obviously indicative of my video game playing style. It was like, hey, you got an item one time and you're gonna hold it forever.
Yeah.
No, I will say I will give it to this D20. I moved 20 times in my life before I was 18. So the fact that it actually survived all the way to there, obviously I could see the look. Yes, military brat. So by the time I finally got it, I couldn't believe I still had it, but I was ready to play. Like I had the one dice, and then friends had to lend me the other ones, the less useful ones, the D10s and 12s and 6s.
Well, you know, either you're a military brat or you're a mafia hitman, one or the other. So, but you know, each sounds very, very appealing in some respects.
And both love D&D. It's weird.
So you got into D&D 3. Right, and then you just jumped in, which we're all familiar with. We won't beat that system to death here.
I skipped 3.
I think I played a couple games of 3. 3 was not my favorite, probably because I didn't play it as much. Because that was like I think I was working like I got promoted in my job and I was working more.
2 for a long time, then 3 for a very short time, then 3.5 came out like shortly.
Yeah, it was an upgrade, like where the mistakes were fixed, right?
Well, that's where they added the OGL, I believe. That
correct. Yeah, no, 3.0 to 3.5, fucking massive difference, like life changing. Like you hear people nowadays talk about Marshall caster disparity, and you go back and look at 3.0, and the Ranger gets 1 class feature for the next 7 levels.
Yeah, that I remember some weaknesses.
And you're like, nowadays you're like, wow, that's unplayable. Like, how did you have fun with that? And everybody and their mom was like, I'm Strider. It's really cool. And you're like, well, that's technically true. You're a Ranger. Go for it, buddy.
Yeah, you're a Ranger, but you know it's you can't do much. You got one trick only.
You like using 2 weapons? Dope. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it did. 3.5 did flesh that system out a lot because we played. I remember playing more with 3.5. Then when I just remember playing 5e after that, you know, it seemed like it'd be because for us in our friends group we went to GURPS, and then we suddenly were playing 5e for a while when we did start playing D&D again, as I recall.
Along the other toes into 4.0, I think very briefly.
I didn't play it.
Of all the gaming books on my shelf, it's probably the most pristine. Like I'd stumbled upon it a few months ago, rearranging them. I was like, "What book is this?" I was like, "Oh, this is 4th edition. I did play that." So
I'll be honest. I'm infinitely sad that 4.0 has a bad rap because I feel like that game ran pretty smoothly. Classes were interesting. Prestige classes were well done. Feats were fun. I mean, shit. I made a dude that could go 90 miles an hour in full plate, and
that's awesome.
It was just neat to do. And I feel like that game I do understand now, looking back, that at that time WotC tried their power grab again at that point, which I didn't know then because I wasn't as much in.
None of us knew. None of us knew that stuff.
Yeah, they tried to like steal creativity, like some sort of weird Grinch monster on the hill, and we all just kind of said, "Oh, this is too much like WoW. We're going to back away from it." And for me, my group, we said, "Let's do Pathfinder."
Yeah, there we go.
And Pathfinder archetypes, classes, the amount of modification, creativity, feats, the constant, build your own Lego cabin kind of feel was amazing. Like you could make almost anything in Pathfinder, and even now, even Pathfinder 2e, you can make anything you want without having to really bend the rules that much.
It does have its pros, definitely, because D&D got at least the modern system got just so much crap going on with it. Almost like I like to think Pathfinder, like for me, there's something
Pathfinder,
you can do something.
Pathfinder is an interesting situation for me as a gamer. I think of like TV shows, right? So there's like I've seen a lot of sci-fi shows, but I have huge gaps. So I've never watched Doctor Who. I love the movie I love the movie Stargate. I've never watched any of those shows, right? So those are like they're like little black holes in my geekdom. Pathfinder 1 for me, and I think for most of this group, is the same way. I never played I've never played Pathfinder 1. We went on, like you said, GURPS, Rifts, all Palladium, all kinds of other things, and when we circled back around, we ended up coming back to 5e, and it's only been in the last 2 years that our group picked up Pathfinder 2e. And I don't know, maybe James, maybe I don't know, but I don't know. So I was always fascinated. I think when I was younger, I was like, I still played 3.5, and so it was like Coke, Pepsi. I don't know. So I feel like I've missed a lot.
Yeah, I never actually played 1E, but I gave the book to my son because he has a friend that plays Pathfinder 1E. So I said, okay, here is just on my shelf. Just take it.
Make it sound like you're distributing black tar heroin, Nathan. Jesus, like I gave to my friend.
I made the drug reference, so you don't have to copy me.
So for you guys with Pathfinder 1, would you agree that it was sort of like the refuge for the folks who wanted 3.5 again? Sort of. That's what I had heard. I don't know if that's true or not, because I don't have a frame of reference.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So, Matt, I would say entirely that is true. It wasn't necessarily for us. We were having a blast 3.5. My original GM, which is a player now in my home games, eventually got tired of GMing and said, Jeff, you fucking do it. And so that was 20 some odd years ago. And I was like, all right, shit, I'm a huge Dune nerd. I have all these sci-fi books, fantasy books I've read. I've never GM'd. Let's go. And so I ran that first campaign that went for 2.5 years. And then we started making the change to Pathfinder because it felt like the natural extension of it. It wasn't because we got tired of 3.5 or because we thought it was bad or the politics of it or anything else. It was just like, oh, this feels like kind of what we're doing, but a lot more parts that we can modify. And so then we restarted the next campaign built on the world of the previous one and did it in Pathfinder, but still used 3.5 material. And we've kind of kept doing that. And that's literally our 20 years of gaming is we're at the 8th iteration of the same world rebuilt multiple times, changing the world and the rules as we get all more comfortable with it and modifying it. So now we play an Epic 10 version, which means only 10 levels. But it is a very post-apocalyptic, cyberpunk-esque Pathfinder variant that's somewhere between original Pathfinder and Starfinder.
There's a theme
I noted that when I started listening. So before you guys came on, I started listening to the show, and I was like, I was listening to the first episode, and I'm looking at the artwork, and I'm like, wait a minute. I keep talking about Pathfinder. I was like, it dinged on me. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys were like starfinding before Starfinder came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy crap. Cause I thought, what a great idea. I was, cause at first I was like, wait a minute, this isn't a Starfinder podcast. I was like, what is happening here? So, but
Yeah,
that's
no, we're
cool.
all
So when did you guys
Snow
decide
Crash
to
and Blade Runner, and so that's where we
Snow
landed.
Crash?
Everything's rad about Snow Crash except for how old YT is.
Well, let's not. Right.
Yeah, like we just don't.
Let's
rereading
let's
that, I was
gloss
like,
over that.
fuck. Oh God, this is awful.
Yeah, Matt gave me that book to read probably like a year or two ago, and I just started reading it.
It's so good.
Like 2 months ago.
Oh, good.
But I was like, it's like, huh? There's some like other stuff in there too. It's not just that. There's some like language in there that's like not PC.
Hasn't kept up with the times, probably.
Yeah,
but it's
bet that makes its history.
it is a quintessential cyberpunk book. I
But
had gotten that
book.
from my brother-in-law. He just like, and he's not like a gaming guy or anything. Just like one year he came down from New York for Christmas. He's like, hey man, you might like this book. I was like, oh, okay, sure. And I was like, great. It's going to be some like metaphysical existential study of the human soul or whatever. Like, really, I'm like, this is badass. Like,
well, in its own way, it is, right?
Yeah.
So, Jeff, I would ask. So you talked about 20 years of gaming, and on your site you give a little bit of background how you went from 3rd edition, 1999, 8 friends, which is a large group of people, with this campaign in your world, and then how now you're on 1E. You sort of touched on that. Now, I'm curious. You were playing a game like we played our games, and this is similar. So we were all playing games, and then somehow along the way, you got bit in the butt. You guys decided to go live. How did that happen? Like, we're going to put this on the internet and see everybody look at our nonsense, right? We're going to embarrass ourselves in front of our family and friends. Let's go. So.
Yeah, it basically got to that point. So Big Campaign is called that because it was always the campaign we ran when everyone could show up.
Yeah, it's
right.
Big. Yeah.
Some people couldn't make it. Every other person had different DM games they were running, right? But I was the only person who, whether it's my ADHD and my ability to multitask, was like, I'm perfectly fine with 12 players at the table, and I can do this. And so that's how Big Campaign became a thing. If everyone shows up, Jeff's got this. And eventually we got to the point where we had one of our, the person who plays Oswald, long-time military friends, he was telling about while they were in the military of like, Jeff's my GM. When you get out, when we all get out, you got to come play with this guy. Fucking great GM. You'll love him. So I got out and I met this guy, and he's like, I've heard so many stories about you. I'm like, oh God. Ooh, this is terrifying, man.
It's a two-edged sword. Yeah, go.
But he's like, why don't you make a podcast? And my wife has said kind of the same thing. Like, you and all your friends have made this world. You do all this stuff. You don't have to make money off it. You don't have to do anything fancy. People might just like listening to your dumb stories. I was like, you know what? I kind of like just telling dumb stories. That's who I am as a person. So heck yeah. So I picked, 4 of my friends that I know the world well and all have varied backgrounds. And they're all longtime friends that I trust and know to nerd out with. And it was like, cool, let's put it out there. If you guys don't like it, we don't have to do it. But if you're having fun, let's just tell them stories for people.
No, that's good. I mean, it's sort of like when we had our discussion about how to go, and Nathan put it.
Yeah,
he put Nathan. How'd you put it?
Yes, like I hope you like it. If you don't like it, you pound sand. But I hope you stick around.
Yeah, Nathan's like, I just want to do this. I don't want to make money. This and that.
It's a great passive aggressive intro to our show.
Matt's a capitalist, and he's looking for a retirement gig.
If you last past the first 30 seconds, then we got you. So.
Hey, welcome, join our stuff. If you don't like it, whatever. And now I'm going to drop an alien on Sean, and then that's how we roll. So. Now, everybody knows the system, Pathfinder, guys. We're not going to beat it to death as a D20 system, but tell us about the world. Tell us about, you touched on this, once again, another cyberpunk-esque world. And tell us, give us the genesis of it and
sure.
what it is.
So the podcast is set in the 7th iteration of the world. This is a world now that is, what is it? 2 campaigns ago, somebody was a psionic character that decided to become the plane of information. So that's how we got our internet. So that is a living world, which is the information plane. We had characters that created our advancement from Warforged into androids in order to bypass, if you know your old D&D lore, Mechanus,
That sounds
the
familiar,
plane of Mechanus, the plane of law.
Right.
Multiple times in my campaigns, my players have constantly hated that plane to the point they constantly fought against it. It wasn't until the 6th iteration they finally blew it up because they were tired of laws being put on their world. And so now we're dealing with kind of Darwinian capitalism that is developed into this megacorp that we have now.
Wow, that's an interesting description.
And because over the many years, my players just literally do not like to play clerics. They do not like to play healers. Most religions have kind of gone by the wayside. Corporations now exist. They can choose patrons that are corporations for powers or abilities. And we just kept building onto the world. So that's why our maps are really big. We have, locations to help build the character as you go. And the history behind all those locations is their own campaign. We did an entire campaign one time in just one continent. We never left that. Did a whole political thing. And then it wasn't until like another couple campaigns later, they explored outside of that. But the seventh world is very much cell phones and sorcerers.
So a question. So how much of the world building is just Jeff, and how much is Jeff consulting with your players?
I would say it's about 60-40. I build I put the rails on the bowling alley, but I let my players go a little crazy with it, right? We wouldn't have a internet. It wasn't for the player that decided to use the 9th level psionic ability to become a plane. And he wanted to become the plane of information in order to help people be able to fight monsters without having to be high level. We had another character who spent their entire life trying to make weapons and try to make guns, right? As we see that trope constantly happen of almost everything big in the world has happened because of my players. And like I said, I'm a huge Dune nerd, so I'm a giant fan of taking what happens, altering it through time a little bit, and expanding the world on that. So most of the places you're scrolling through and things are all built upon player actions and behaviors, and whether they, set fire to a continent or whether they use their powers to kill a god. A thing like that helps build every next step. So right now in the current game, like the Death God, you have Burgatory, which is a burger place that's themed after the Death Guy.
That's real too. We have in Pittsburgh. They're real. They're good burgers, by the way.
Oh shit! I've never been. I did not.
That's right. If you're ever up this way in Pittsburgh, you see a Burgatory, go to it. You could live your dream right there and have a good burger.
Hey, get some sponsorship there. So
that's right.
But yeah, like what is it? Multiple characters have now become like basically corporate icons, right? They get the fun of living in the world, the post-scarcity, post-apocalyptic world that's rebuilt from their heroes that saved the world thousands of years ago. So, we have holidays that are built on their previous characters.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask that next. But sometimes they're playing. The longer you play this, you're playing the ancestors of their previous characters, or at least in that same world.
Yeah, correct. Like the Anise place you're playing in now, or that you have on the screen currently. The Levant were something brought in kind of at the end of the first campaign and second campaign, which were elemental creatures or elemental avatars bound through the planes that kind of constructed reality. At this point in the game now, like the players have killed those avatars and replaced them multiple times. And so now this location here is just a city built around a pillar of a previous character, and that provides the geothermic energy that powers that city.
So these sort of slay a god, become the internet, is your campaign, are these campaigns high level throughout, or are these sort of things that ended a iterative, like cyclical chain where they started out at first level clearing out rats, or is the game start at like are
You have
those
to bring
decisions
that
that
up.
kind of like end that cycle and then it moves to the new cycle, or are they coming in kind of at a high level?
No, it's we definitely start level 1 every time. The first time I ran was level 1, and I played all the way until level 20. And funny enough, the 3.0 Epic Handbook came out. So I took the entire game to level 33.
Wow.
Players were insane. They were binding seeds of reality to rebuild the plane that currently exists now. So it started as the plane of Avanus, was destroyed by the BBEG, and the 29th level wizard was like, oh, what if I grab the seeds of reality from different planes and bind them all together and remake the world? And I use these pillars to hold it together and combine all the material planes to make this new one of Zolanis. And I was like, cool, I feel like we're at the end of 33 levels. I'm going to start over, guys. So then we went to the second game, and that's where we start over again. And the second game had a far more elemental theme because of that. And then we went with that game. We cut off early because I was in my early 20s, and I decided, fuck it, I want to go travel Europe for a couple years. So I did.
Well, good reason.
But I spent those couple years in traveling Europe, riding trains, and drawing and writing up the third campaign. So when I got back to America and my friends, I was like, hey guys, I'm back. You guys want to play D&D?
So as a kind of not an unbroken chain, but as an iterative chain, how long is this big campaign? How many years does this span?
I mean, at this point now, we're at 23 years.
Yeah, you started in it says 99. If you go by that, it's like you're at almost 26 years, I want to say.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I guess that's fair. 99 is when we started playing. I didn't take over until 2001.
Okay, since you took over, I get it. All right.
So
That's good.
I have to ask, do you ever get kind of say, you know what? I'm tired of Pathfinder. I'm going to try something else.
This is Nathan. This is Nathan's core, right, by the way. He gets jittery after about 6 episodes in the game. Like, what are we doing, man? I need my
he
hit.
has stayed. I think this is interesting. He's had a nice, loving, wonderful relationship for like forever. But anything with gaming, he would be like a complete he's not able to stay.
He loves his dog.
Polygamerous.
Totally poly.
So Nathan's a solid partner, but as far as gaming goes, he's a fucking fuckboy.
Yeah. Totally.
Nathan's in open gaming relationships. He's not even polygamous. He just spreads for any game that comes along that catches his fancy.
I think you just called me a whore, but
no. I was more elegant.
No one's paying
How
you,
about
Nathan.
you're a game worker? How about that? You're a game worker. All right, we'll go.
Game work is work too. Come on now.
Yeah. All right.
So that's the thing is actually funny enough, we have Pathfinder is of course my key. It's one that I feel very comfortable modifying severely, right? We change rules if you from here the BC8 link's there, but like if you look at another website I made, a lot of modifications, a lot of changes. We're trying to mix it up, but it's been fun. I have other players that have ran prequel campaigns. From my players, I have people that have ran 13th Age games. I've run a City of Mist in my own world. We switch games, but keep that universe a bit to kind of fit how people want. Funny enough, I'm running a 5e version of this next Saturday with the Rainbow Dice Club.
Okay.
We did a Powered by the Apocalypse game with James Gravity Fail 87. From Amper Sandbox. They did one in my world where he jammed it and I got to be a player. And yeah, so we definitely, I stick to the core idea of Pathfinder and I just keep modifying it more and more. I'm 40. It feels old.
It's not, my friend.
right. That's what everyone says, but I'm like, I sleep wrong now, and that's weird.
Worse.
It gets worse. One day your knees just don't want to do the same things anymore.
Oh, dude, I got gout for the first time a few years ago.
You got gout? Oh no!
I was like, what the hell
Welcome
is
to the
this?
club.
Yeah, I'm like, how fucking old am I? Who has gout? That's like old king people have gout.
Well, yeah, I have. You know, it's funny though. I was diagnosed with it very young. In fact, when you never like it when doctors start bringing other doctors in to come take a look. I was out of active duty. I was back in college, and I literally woke up one morning. I was like, "What is going on?" I'd never heard of it before. This is called the digression portion of the show.
Yeah, right.
Then we're going to talk the medical portion. Yeah. So I was like, what roommate of mine ran into my room at night and hit me in the foot with a hammer while I was sleeping? And the guy's like calling everybody in. And I was like 25 years old when I got diagnosed with it. I was like, this is insane. But you know, oh well, there you go. Sorry.
So we side quest as we usually do to our age and infirmary. Let's get back to the youthful 40 that Jeff is, and let him continue on the story.
All right, just as a quick side note, though, I did ask and speak to Nathan. I am happy to run a Pathfinder 1E for you guys whenever you want.
Oh,
in my world or outside of that, just for future stuff. But yeah.
We would do terrible things to your world, but
we are not sometimes good gamers, man. I'm just
we're not safe. We're not safe for homebrew.
We're sometimes not safe.
My players are trying to save the world from me because they know in my heart I want to explode my world because God, I want to run like a post-planar apocalyptic. What if
we can make that happen.
Is fucking God?
We have a group of characters we can transfer Pathfinder on sex-driven saving throw. It would just make it happen. Trust me.
I heard your alone. I heard your alien run. You guys did
alien run. I love the alien run. Yeah. That's one of my favorite games, man.
Yeah. Jeff actually suffered through the horrible audio of our first run of Alien.
Oh, really?
Good. Thank you.
I like our first
it's pretty
game.
It's amazing. Yeah.
No, I
Green Bean, get over here. No, that's okay.
Kind of got I headshotted. I think.
It was
4
perfect.
or 5.
Nathan ran that.
Yeah,
perfectly. It was well done.
No, I had a blast. No, you guys are on my weekly rotation. I listen to episodes.
Thank you so much.
I mean, I got my dork day and I do have my Clash Crits pin.
So did you and Nathan pre-plan this?
No,
you're like twinsies.
Total accident. Yeah,
it was an accident. You weren't on before, Matt. They were just like, oh my God.
These are really good shirts, Matt.
So Matt, quality. Since you run our merch, their shirts are a lot better than ours. You really got to do something. Are they? Yes. Yeah, apparently our shirts are subpar compared to theirs.
I actually did when I got home. Wife got off work. We went out and had a cocktail. Oh, hell yeah. I got my
Yeah.
Boop.
I ate all my candy though.
Yeah, I didn't because I was worried. I didn't know what was in the candy.
Yeah, you might have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got home. I was like, I want to switch to my dork day because freaking love those guys. Got to get my Clash Crits, represent a little bit of us. Not as cool as you guys podcast.
No.
I got a sticker.
No, I got Yeah, I'm lacking in all my
they're fun.
Podcast car.
When is Clash of Crits coming on the show again?
That's next.
Yes,
that's 2 weeks.
It'll be good.
The 30th. Yeah.
Yeah, we just finished
we do repeat
crossover with them.
Yeah, tell us about that crossover. That you
hold just a second. Something very important I got to bring up. It's very important. It's absolutely important. Matt, it's halfway through the show. You will start freaking out if you don't get to do your thing.
Okay. You got to do your pitch.
Yeah, he's got to do his pitch, Nathan.
Talk about those shirts, Nathan.
Nathan, you got to. I got to suffer. You got to suffer too.
Talk about those shirts, Nathan. Well, you can get one of those subpar shirts. You've been listening to Dragon Bane, and you want a subpar shitty shirt. Well, go on over
to
our website and get. Spend your hard-earned money on our subpar T-shirts. We've got all the characters from the Dragon Bane, and we've also got,
Sean dying.
Other merchandise. We've got the subpar glasses and subpar coffee mugs.
Sorry.
And if you really, like I said, if you are listening, just make sure you we do. We have all kinds. You go through the entire store. Yeah. So
we also
got
have some bugs, I believe, with Pride stuff. If Nathan you set them up, Matt.
I've got
Yes, there we
Matt,
go.
you put it all the way at the bottom. What's up with that?
Oh my gosh!
Nathan, you something. That's good. That was good,
Trying to get you
Nathan.
in trouble.
Very good, Nathan. Very good. I'm proud of you.
So this is how I break.
This is my sub-pair organization of our merchandise. All of the artwork that you see is original. Even our original artwork for the podcast. So you're supporting us buying more original artwork from other awesome artists.
The artwork is great, by the way. The artwork's beautiful on these shirts. It's from our friend Jody.
All right, so that is my end of my subpar advertising of the subpar.
So real quick, I just want to put the banners up for big campaign. Nathan's not Nathan. I'm killing Nathan right now, but I always do this. So this is big campaign swipe. This is the Spotify link. This is them on X. If you just do a Google search, though, you will find a whole bunch. They have Apple and they have different YouTube and all that. But I want to get that out there so when you see it, you can go check them out, please. Nathan, please go on.
The Clash of Crits. What were you doing with them?
So what is it? We all have like graduating classes for our podcast groups, right? Clash Crits came out, same of like Dice and Thunder, around the same time we started. So as we started getting into posting stuff, I was like, all right, well, who else is posting? So started listening to Clash Crits. Fucking loved them. The chaotic energy, just a crazy group. And yeah, I get it, right? It's the best part about kind of rolling dice is making stories with friends. Longer friends are great, of course, but new friends also, right? Like there's something about all of us playing make-believe that is always fun. And it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter who you are, culture, everything. It's just fun to fucking play make-believe. Yeah. So I listened to their pod. They listened to mine. We reached out, BS with each other. One day I had a bug up my butt of like, it'd be fun. Just run games for DMs that don't get to play. So I post on Twitter. I was like, hey, I'm willing to run a oops all GMs. So if GMs want to play, reach out to me. We'll do episodes. I got 12 people. They're like, I want to do this. One of them was Psycho, which is the GM of Clash Crits. And like any D&D group, right? 4 of the people fell off. They just couldn't do it. So yeah, I got 8, which is awesome. That's so good. And that's where like I met YF Techno, James, Gravity Fail, Psycho, Dallum. Like I met a bunch of people, had them all run kind of like 2-part, kind of just fun. As far as we call them, as far as our game's side hustles.
Yeah.
And from there, talking with Psycho, it's like, we have more we can do if you want. And so from there, I had some side sessions. I brought their whole team on. They really integrated well with the world. They're really good at improvising. They're great at what's the best way to say it?
Funny.
Improv, like
I would say improv, but also like they do their research, right? They looked at my world, they read everything. So when they came to me with their characters, they kind of already fit, right? They already knew a little bit of the world, even though I know I have way too much lore. And Sean, I think I just sent you on Twitter. I was like, I sent you the original Big Campaign 7 page that I went from, and I was like, cool, here's this. Read what you want, look it over, let me know what you think. And the whole group did, and all of them, and speaking with Chappie and all that, had a blast. I was like, cool, let's bring them on. And so now they become kind of permanent NPCs in the world. Not NPCs, because they are player characters. They are affecting the world with their story, as do all the side hustles. But they are now more integrated in the world, right? They are the characters in the show that you would watch. When they show up, you're like, oh shit, this character's here. I'm fucking in. What are they going to do? And so, because they've always wanted to play with the whole group, we had finally a 4-episode crossover where the whole group had to split up to go deal with Psycho's character's father. And it was, luckily I was able to bring in the Upper Middle Brow podcast people from their side quest and make this giant kind of conglomeration to tie it all together to finish off season 5 for us. And it was a fucking mess. I love it. Don't get me wrong. But in this beautiful moment, you know, any of you have been GMs. There are people who are certain kinds of players, and there's other kind of players, right? There are those leader type players that, if left alone, they will just naturally advance in a direction. And there are
I don't
other
know what
players
you're talking
which,
about.
and there are those other wonderful players which, if left alone, will boil over onto your oven, set the house on fire, and then keep going.
Yeah.
And sadly, no, not sadly, wonderfully, this got split exactly on those lines. So there's there's an entire group of leader type characters that are like, here's what we're doing. And then there's just a chaos group, just madness incarnate. And it was absolutely fun. I loved jamming all of it. I loved editing it, and even more so was listening to my players hear those episodes from each other, being like, that's what those fuckers did? Really? We were panicking and these fuckers were partying? Oh my God. Like
that's always funny. The comparison. That sounds correct. That sounds so amazing. Like you got the one group that's doing like all this stuff, and then the other group's just a madness, right? And Malcolm described, a friend Malcolm who we game with, that he ran a Sparrowhawk. I don't know.
Gold Sparrow.
What Golden Sparrow. But he Sparrowhawk's a movie. Golden Sparrow, and he had two groups, and one was like doing all this overthinking stuff. And our group was like, just, okay, we got a plan, let's go do it. And he's like, you guys are great. I get so much done with you. I spend the whole freaking episode with those guys just trying to do a fight. And I some of our episodes are like that, right? You can tell who's playing.
Yeah, like so we're gonna be up about 50 episodes with Dragonbane.
Oh yeah,
probably like really other people would probably do the whole thing in like 15.
I know, but we're just we're terrible.
We enjoy ourselves. So
yes,
I'm not gonna say it's bad or anything. We enjoy ourselves. So
no, we just go off tangents and just do stuff. Sometimes it's fun. But if you're trying to get through the game, like we do games where we go to, like we did that with Twilight. We were more focused. That's the type of game you're focused on. We had to be, or Nathan would kill. I thought we were focused in Twilight. You didn't think we were?
No.
I thought we did good. Matt, I think we did good. I think he's being a little harsh on us.
I feel like we drove around in a circle. And
listen, I gave leadership in that game. God damn it, I gave leadership. I don't want to hear it.
You're fine.
I feel like it's that fun moment where you took Always Sunny in Philadelphia and, like, I don't know, NCIS, and you just put the episodes on shuffle, and those are the two groups.
That's good. That's a good way. That sounds hilarious.
That's funny.
Oh my God. Oh,
that's great. And is that out all available now?
It's on 7,
or is
right?
it still working on it?
Yes, yeah. All of the Clash Crits crossover episodes are currently completed. The next episode comes out is basically the cap of season 5 before we start getting into the next one. But yeah, all of those are out. And they have about 3 other episodes with us as well.
Okay. Now,
that's cool.
For the podcast, do you keep that all, like, is it just another episode in the podcast string, or did you create a fork with, like, where it's, like not necessarily linear with the podcast?
Kind of because because I've become such good friends with them, I've brought them into the world as part of the main story. But a lot of the side hustles and things like that, the way I design them is that they're supposed to stand alone, but they affect the world.
Okay.
Right. If you listen to a side hustle episode, if you catch like kind of the main point, it will affect the main storyline and how it goes.
Okay.
Kind of just like what's that? I always enjoy those stories in media and shows and whatnot of like the random dude who had a bad day who just happens to, for whatever reason, parks his car in front of a fire hydrant. And then the main storyline is my house is burning down. The fire department can't get to the fire hydrant and they don't know why. And it's just this other random thing that has nothing to do with them. And I always think that's kind of fun to make a world feel alive in a larger setting. Like my home games, when I run them, different parties can screw over other parties just accidentally.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been in a game like that where there was just really just a living world. What you've built is a living world, where yeah. So a lot of the stuff that we've done as friends and for the podcast is really more serials and enclosed stories. So this is kind of neat, just having this world that, like, you could hand this. You could take everything and hand this off to somebody else. You could publish this as something put on drive-through, and someone else could take this and take this world that you've created and build something else off of it, or you hand it to a friend. So it's not really. It's once this many people are involved in telling these stories and sharing like the same world, is gets a little bit. I'm gonna say it's bigger than you now.
Mhm.
So that's actually pretty cool. I haven't been part of that, anything like that for quite a while. So yeah, just my
So
That was
when
very
you,
deep, Nathan.
yeah, I'm gonna, yeah.
And I want to thank Nathan, because I thought he was going to take us into technical stuff. I thought he was going into audio recording, and he didn't. I'm proud of him. So, oh, by the way, Mike Sims thinks that at this age, the only cereals you should be eating is grape nuts. He just wanted to make sure we're feeling good and lots of fun.
I think we all take our fiber. Don't worry, Mike.
Yeah.
You can get pills online for that. I shouldn't be bringing that up. All right, go ahead.
No, and honestly, I do actually love every time Nathan posts audio pictures on threads and things like that, because I look at them, I'm like, yeah, I get that. I feel his pain.
Yeah. Anybody who edits, I can tell, like, it's not always the people that do the social media that are the one that are editors, but you can always tell who the editors are from their social media posts. It's a shared. It's a shared experience.
It
of
is.
pain
It
and
is
suffering.
It is a masochistic thing. It has to be, because I do like light edit. Like I just call them production edits, right? So all I do is listen to it. I mark it with things like if people are talking over each other, I try to pick who I think we should hear, right? So if two people are talking, because like a real table, we've talked about this before. If you're playing with 8 people at a table, there's probably a conversation between the GM and 1 or 2 or 3 or some amount of players, but other people are talking, right? But if you do that while you're recording and then you go listen to it all together, you might have someone literally be describing something and you hear people like, and I don't know how Nathan does it, because I'm the one I'm editing today. There's literally, it sounds like someone halfway through the episode turns on a vacuum cleaner. And it's just running in the background the whole time. And I think this is before Tier started figured out how long he can turn his fish off before they die.
He just kills his fish.
So there's just literally he moved his office to this giant, like, right. But it's literally like, I'm trying to, I'm like, Nathan's going to know. I don't need to mark this. Nathan's going to hear this. But I'm listening. How does he do this? Just like literally like try to edit. If you were playing D&D and your mom came in and started like vacuuming the room while you're playing, you're like, Mom, stop.
But there's a secondary effect from Nathan getting on us and showing. I want to show you guys something. You'll show a graph. Sean, that's when you ate that. This is like 2 years ago, but I still remember. This is when you were eating those chips, and I go, "Oh shit!" Tier, this is you clacking the keyboard. Tim, this is you breathing heavy, and we're all like, so now we're all listening. We're all listening. Like, what's that sound? What's that sound? Somebody's loud on the thing. Everybody, check your mics.
Yeah, I was showing like the spectrograph, and I did a little, probably like a 2-minute long clip where I just isolated Sean eating potato chips. And I posted that as like a promo clip.
It was good. I was dying when you did that. I was like,
so your group, do you have people that are either better or worse with like the micro? Like when you transitioned over to actually recording, we're like, for some folks, was it easier? Was it more difficult? Like Nathan gets after me because they're like, well, set your, I'm like, my microphone sounds great from here or here. Because I'm one of these people when I'm playing, so.
Yeah. So what is it? Everything's tropes, right? Everything's like Sex in the City. Everything's, You're Always Sunny. We all have those people, right? Like my person who plays Dosh, amazing friend. We've been friends for years. Love the guy. for some reason he's on a fucking bobblehead when it comes to using a mic. Like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. My buddy John, who plays Lucius, we have decades of friendship, and the guy's just playing with his hoodie. I'm like, John, I'm going to need you to really stop that. He's like, you can hear that? Yes, John. I can also hear that you've gotten up, left your living room, and you're now in the bathroom. He's like, well, I had to empty my humidifier. I'm like, yes, and I can hear that too. Like, it's, and everybody has a thing, and we've all addressed it, but it's always funny as hell of like, when you first start recording, you don't realize how many dumb noises your body and you make just naturally, right? Like, I don't know how my partner even puts up with me now that I've done editing. Like, I just make stupid noises all the fucking time. Like, if somebody had to listen to me constantly, like, there can't be an FBI guy listening to me when I look up, like, how much blood does it take to make a sword? Like,
Yes.
There can't be an FBI guy who's like, I can't believe he just smacks his mouth for no reason, sitting in an empty room, and then makes like fart noises with his face.
Yeah,
like, why does he do that?
We had Nathan put up something like, this is true. We were playing a game, and my friend Tony left. He came back with and we're like, what are you eating? And I think Tier's like, he's got a tiramisu, and he ate the tiramisu. Well, that had to be edited out.
Tray, not a slice.
Like a tray, like an 8 by 10 inch tray, and he's eating it. And I'm looking at Nathan, who's just like got this dead look in his eye face, like, I got to edit that. And he just kept eating.
Well, so it's that stuff isn't hard. It's just stuff that they're doing while they're talking.
Right.
That's and all the lip smacks and stuff like that, which I'm guilty of. But yeah,
the one that kills me is the fact that I can recognize my friend's now visually. Like, when I'm editing, I don't even have to listen. I'm like, oh, that one looks like a freaking kebab, like a meat tornado. That's a John Oh, that one over there. Yep, looks like that's Sean Just get rid of him before I even hear him.
Yeah,
it's like, it's weird thinking that I've been friends with them for years, and we all hang out in a public setting and talk, and I've never realized how many we just naturally say. But then editing, you see them, and you're like, you weird fucks.
I'm the worst offender, so I won't.
Dude, when I started doing this thing, I first time I listened, I kept saying I'm like, I had all this training in public speaking, and I just forgot all of it when I got on here, and so I have to not say
Yeah, I have gotten pretty good at
that's funny, Mike.
Shortening them, and also I do a lot of false starts. So I've gotten really good at editing that kind of crap. And
not as much anymore. You do a lot better at it.
There's little things like well, that means I'm doing a good job editing, because I edit the fuck out of my own tracks. So, but Matt, my one of my crowning achievements was what was the word?
Gelatinous?
No, not genitalius.
I know, but that's intrepid, or is intrepid endeavor?
No, there's a word that he. So you had the story that was like something forgotten harvest or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
The endless harvest.
The endless harvest.
Yeah. So he forgot to put the T in his word when he spoke. So he kept on saying endless harvests.
Oh,
you're right.
So I took an ST from another word. And
English is hard.
Putting it on his harvest, and like nobody could tell the difference because I'm a rock star. But yeah, that was.
I didn't even know that till now.
Yeah, well, now you know. Go back and listen. You can't tell.
Go back and okay.
No.
Oh my God, that's
Nathan
funny.
Editing solidarity. That's I've definitely been like, well, time to this feels a little awkward, but I'm just going to kind of cut and paste like a serial killer and make new words for my friends because they don't know how to say them.
No, I've made a decision. If I run anything, Jeff, it's going to be like on SteamYard Live. I'm like, I can't. I would. First of all, I don't want to put anybody through my editing my shit. Second of all, I'm just going to do it and eat it if it goes south. I'll be like, oh, that was my first and last session. Thank you, everybody, and just light my computer on fire.
Well, we've become more comfortable. I don't know. Have you guys done any live streaming? Has it all been recorded or live?
We have not. No. It sounds what is it? My brain goes in two ways. One, it sounds terrifying because all of my group, all of us go into tangents all the time. I mean, longtime friends, especially, right? You have a couple drinks and you just become, hey guys, what don't you want to talk about politics for 20 minutes now? Like, cool.
Oh, we stay away from that.
Like, and Jeff, this is for you later. Cut this out. Okay, go ahead, guys. And then when I listen, I'm like, yep, put a break, skip ahead, cut it out, boop.
That's smart.
Yeah, it's a, for us, the very first time we did it was like our 2nd year anniversary or 10,000. It was something we did. I don't know why we did it now. It might have been 10,000 downloads or something. And we did our first lot. We did live, and we did a thing. If you ever get, it's funny. It's one of the only things we've ever done that I can go back and listen to over and over and over again because it's so stupid. Is we played a 1-page role-playing game called Potato, where you're basically playing a bunch of hobbits trying to store potatoes so that you can hide and just skip this whole Lord of the Rings thing. And because we were all so afraid, we all drank so much. And because we were all terrified because look, we have an E-rated podcast, and it is not all content is included that was recorded, even so. And so there was there's content inside a circle of friends, there's content outside of a circle of friends. And so I think going into live, I was like, oh my God, I have no delay button. I've got no edit button. Sean's playing. No, we give Sean a hard. Sean does not say the worst stuff. He is not the worst culprit, but he is the one we always blame.
Potential's there. If I get enough liquor in me, some very creative stuff will come out of me. Not necessarily terrible, but people are like, oh my God, you said what? But but some of the most crazy stuff comes out of like the unusual sources, like Nathan sometimes, which is funny. Malcolm, yes, oh yeah. Malcolm will say something like, Malcolm, you, yeah.
Malcolm lost us 4 minutes of the episode we're going to release next week or this week.
Well, that's because he felt he wanted it.
I don't think it was Malcolm
that.
Listened to it and went, no.
Now he wasn't. I thought it was George Carlin-esque. I'll just leave it at that.
Anyway, we're talking about ourselves. We got a guest.
Yeah, sorry.
But Jeff, you should try it. You should try it. Do it. Do a little 30-minute jump on it, and if you're on it, you'll be fine. I think you guys would do great at it. But go ahead. Where were we? Yes.
I love my players, but I don't know if they'd. I feel like they'd be a little bit too nervous for it. I don't think they'd like it.
Okay, then you just have to do it with us. We're just got to go live and destroy your world.
Done. I am down to do that nerd moment.
Very cool.
So we'll have you on here. You can run for us live. Won't that be super fun?
Actually, I got to run live Pathfinder 2E for the Game Master Monday group. I did that about 6-7 months ago. It was fun. Like I like doing it. But yeah, I personally don't know how to stream. So since you guys do, absolutely happy to run.
So this platform we use is very forgiving, but we got to pay for it. And actually, I got to Vimo Matt some money to cover my part of it recently. I just realized that. It's pretty forgiving. It's a subscription, but if you're going to do it, I recommend it because like I said, it's easy. Once you set it up, you hit start and you hit end, and that's it.
It's pretty idiot proof. Like
and we're idiots.
For our regular show, we use something kind of complicated and convoluted. But
Nathan put stuff up that it looks like he's speaking in the ancient tongue of Aramaic, and it's mixed with Latin. So I just don't even get it. So. Anywho,
StreamYard.
So I have a question about world building, right? So I'm on the webpage, right? So and so I'm trying to think of like. Back in the HTML days, right? Like, putting stuff on there. You've got this sort of exterior facing, and this is what you should do. Is this your primary tool where you keep everything, or how do you keep everything organized? And, do you, or you like me and you just have a bunch of 3-ring binders with stuff written in it, or?
So my players kind of pushed me for this, right? I did send Sean a link to. Right now, you're looking at the podcast page, and it has the link for BC8.
Where'd you send the link to?
Twitter. So I think that's how you and I were speaking, Sean.
Oh yeah, the potato ambassador.
So I did send you that because we were talking about the potatoes. And,
yes.
but yeah, so the sites. So this is Big Campaign 7. This is the one that the podcast is based in. When I first ran this campaign, I set it up to be kind of Men in Black / Marvel / like Hellboy. All the players are part of a government organization that fights against giant monsters. Very, was it Kaiju number 8? If you watch anime, kind of stuff like that. This all technically is happening in the background of the podcast. So the podcast is playing the street level people that live in a world that all of these guys are fighting giant monsters. So when you listen to the podcast, they'll have like news episodes where the players go check the news and they talk about a group that fought like a water leviathan that tried to like take out an island. Those were all episodes and sessions we played as this group. So that's the world map. And funnily enough, the Jesse, who plays Oswald, our military guy, he actually had everybody write up below mission statements, so you can actually read through most of the sessions as though they are military kind of, here's who did this, who's recommendations for what they do, all that. So yeah, like that's
all that's the NPCs and stuff.
Yes, these are all NPCs that they're dealing with. These are the player rules, player notes, like antagonists they had to worry about, things they were trying to figure out.
So your players take notes?
Yeah, I mean, well, Nathan, I kind of cheat. If I have enough players, eventually some of them will take notes.
There you go. All right.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So these are all homebrew, like everything you're scrolling through now, backgrounds, locations, equipment. All of that is all homebrew build to fit in with the design that I wanted for the world.
I'm drawn to the bastard here.
Yeah, so bastard. Yeah, Basin Bastard is kind of your luck build schmuck kind of guy who's, you have a luck bonus that's constantly going into effect, but every time when you fail your luck bonus, you kind of lose it. Wow. So you keep winning until you don't win. And then you're like, okay, well, shit's gone bad. Now I'm fucked.
Now, since you put all this together, how often do you have to look up your own lore?
Oh, God. Funny enough, not as much. What is it? I'm one of those nerds that has a really good memory, like enough to be that annoying person where I'm like, oh, hey, remember 6 years ago, we were at that party, we're standing on the patio, you were telling me about your girlfriend, you're going to go to college. How did that go? And they're like, yeah, I'm divorced and I dropped out of school and my parents died. I'm like, yeah, that's awkward. You don't know my name. I promise I haven't been stalking you. I just happen to memorize things. But yeah, so sorry, to go back to the original thing, Matt, I made the websites to allow my players to have access to stuff. I actually have Google Docs of every big campaign, going all the way back to 3, all of my notes. But I have a really amazing player, Marshall, who way back when, every time we ended a campaign, he would just ask me, he's like, hey, can I just have all your old notes? And he kind of became our big campaign historian.
Oh, wow.
So I would just give him all my handwritten notes, everything. He has access to all my Google Docs. What's that?
We should borrow him. Like, hey, man.
He is a hero. Marshall is an amazing dude and just absolutely great friend. He plays Keegan in the podcast now. He didn't join until I think season 3. And he's great. But yeah, he ran actually a prequel for my own home campaigns using all the lore that I gave him, so you can make sure it all fit in.
Oh wow.
And yeah. And
here we go. Here are the newspapers.
Oh yeah. So these are fun players.
Party in Thus. Oh wow.
Yeah, Thus is a small new island that was made because we had a guest player who showed up and accidentally let the world tree get hit with a nuclear bomb and deleted it from reality. And so now permanently the world tree is removed from the world and it's replaced with this giant black scar made of Ocanthian ice. If you know from old like 2.0 Planescape rules, Ocanthian is the frozen memories from when the plane of Avernus leaks off into reality. So yeah, we just had
some stuff in there.
Yeah, we have fun stuff like that. And yeah, my players were like, hey, can I make newspapers for the world? I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
That
I
looks
like
great.
The small detail at the bottom. It has cloudy, moderately windy at street level, gusty in airship lanes.
Yeah.
So those are like a cool little detail.
But I like the headline: "World celebs refuse to confirm invites." It sounds like like the Sun. You're looking at the cover of the Sun in New York.
I can't help but look at this, and honestly, again, if you ever read the Malazan series,
yeah, no,
this seems like the bones for something like that. Just like because that started out as someone's home game.
T-Hole is my absolute favorite character in the entire goddamn world. T-Hole and Bug, fucking best ever. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ganos Piran is rad. I love the Master of the Deck, but T-Hole, just my heart.
You're watching you. That's fucking great.
That's very cool.
That's cool. That's a pretty that's stuff like, I'm surprised you guys don't have modules out for this, because that's that level.
Honestly, you have like everything there. It's just
everything's there. You just got to put it in a book
and throwing it up on drive through.
Yeah, well, I mean, my players have brought up before. It's like, oh, hey, why don't we do this? I'm like, okay, well, we have 7 different generation ages. Like, do we want to go back to the first one where we had epic level characters wrestling gods and tearing apart black holes? Mm-hmm. Or do we want to go to people that are currently arguing over burger prices with their cell phone?
It's funny. You should do it in reverse orders. Do the god stuff first, and like we're arguing over what polish you use on our shoes or something. Something trivial like that.
Oh, to lean into that futurescape, it's fun. The gods from that first campaign that tore apart black holes, like now they have like shipping containers or ships. They're like, oh, that's a Victor class starship, and the player who played Victor is like, man, my character was like this amazing fighter who was fucking giant sword battling demons, and now I'm like a spaceship name.
iPhone.
Yeah, now I'm playing a janitor. Man, life that's where life is.
Yeah, but janitor who works for the company named after my godchild. Yeah, this feels awkward.
Like went wrong with your character. Yeah. So, well, anyway, we are at the time actually. We're past.
Oh,
a good interview. I would like to thank Jeff for joining us. Nathan for coming on, because Nathan doesn't get on often, so it's great to have him on. He always has some very good questions. Matt with his support with all the stuff and buy our stuff and our subpar shirts.
My mediocre subpar.
Yes. Thank you, Darcy, for joining us. We always love having you on. I'm glad you're sticking with us. And anybody else who joined us.
So just Mike used to run like a very kind of popular, like high-end streaming, very elaborate streaming actual play channel on hiatus for a bit, but Mike's a cool person, so thanks for joining, Mike.
Yes. And in closing, Jeff, you have anything you want to add?
Oh geez, I mean, thank you all so much for having me on. It's really great to actually see the faces to the voices I listen to, right? That awkward thing of being another podcaster, speaking with other podcasters, is, longtime listener, first time caller. It's very cool to speak with all of you in person. Of course, huge kudos to all the people we listen to, right? Dork Day Afternoon, Clash of Crits, Rainbow Dice Club, Dice of Thunder, Friend and Foe Adventure Co. There's so many great things out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you are listening to this, I mean, AARPG is an absolute fucking blast. And hey, give us a shot. If you like what the same thing these guys doing, but like 20 years younger. Like I'm gonna get there. Like
20. Oh, well, not
Sean,
60 yet, man. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I mean, I'm saying you're cheating, Sean. Like you shaved it all off. I can't see any white hair. I don't know where you're at. You're in that nebulous. Like
I have shoes older than you, man. No, it's like I could do the Moses, except I don't have the hair on top, so I'd look like some sort of like a 70s sci-fi future shock movie or something, like Logan's Run. Run, Logan. But there's the HTTPS, this, that, the other thing. Anything you want to add?
Nope. Thank you so much. You guys are the best, and I
right.
can't wait to run a game for you guys.
We're going to work on that because
we'll work on that.
we're going to do some live stuff. That's good. Matt, you got anything in closing?
No, thanks for coming on. This is really great. I've been enjoying. You'll probably see if you check if you're a stats monkey like I am. If you see a huge spike in Virginia, that's me. I am both the best and the worst podcast listener. You're going to get tons of downloads from me because I only have time to listen before I go to bed, and so I will listen to 5 minutes, fall asleep, and then I'll download 7 of your episodes. Tomorrow I will advance it 5 minutes, listen to 5. I just because I'm really enjoying it, but the only time I have to listen is in the evening, and I'm like so.
Oh shit! Is that you in Richmond?
Well, it might be pulling me as
Richmond's
Richmond. I'm a little north of that, but
He's close
it's
to
probably
Washington.
it's probably me because like every night I put it on and I am enjoying it. I'm
Matt's dreaming
like-
it. He's actually.
I'm
in the
your
world,
I'm your
floating
your
around.
favorite narcoleptic guest, right? It's like listen.
I got my CPAP machine too. I scuba dive my way. Into
Oh,
bed.
you're on the road. You're on the road today. AARPG. Then half our people use that. I think
we
it's just
wait
me,
for
Nathan,
all
and Malcolm.
gamers eventually become us.
Yeah, like I said, I will eventually join your campaign, whether I mean to or not.
Well, when we
We're gonna
become the
make up these,
geriatric
membership
podcast,
cards eventually.
Yeah.
That's right.
we're going to be the
that's a good
geriatric
idea.
podcast. Where you could take the name. Okay, we'll be geriatrics. We'll all be like no teeth and just with being bussed around. I'm taking it to the worst timeline. Let's just go. Anyway, on that bombshell, everybody, y'all take care now. Have a good evening and enjoy the future.
Bye.
Bye.
One of us.
Bye.
Bye bye.